Thank you all. I really appreciate you inviting me to come here for a little bit this morning. 2 points of clarification. It's 16 years in the legislature. And the second is I have very understanding law partners, believe me. President and CEO, and I still call you Leader Young, has done a tremendous job for Visit Florida. She has really done a tremendous job her whole career for the people of Florida. She has a true heart for service, and she has a mind for knowing how to get things done, even in difficult times, even when there are challenges. And I understand that we've had some challenges in the execution of Visit Florida. But, you know, the governor is doing a phenomenal job, and he makes great decisions. And probably one of the best decisions he made early on was to have President and CEO Young at the helm of Visit Florida. There's, you know, when you follow the governor, he hit so many of the important points that need to be conveyed to you all here this morning, and a lot that you already understand. But I think I'll start by making one thing abundantly clear. The Florida Senate supports reauthorization and funding of Visit Florida. And thank you. So it's important. And you know, we're in week 2, week 3, things start to pick up. We're going to get into our tough budget decisions, and we're going to start rolling through our subcommittees. But I can assure you that when you go through the budget that the Senate produces, you will already know what you're going to find when it comes to Visit Florida, and we're proud to do it, and we're going to work with our colleagues in the House to stress the importance of it and make sure that we can bring them to an understanding in the same manner. You know, the governor touched on the attributes of Florida in terms of environment and our waters, et cetera. I think one thing I'd like to also highlight is the importance of having appropriate infrastructure within the state of Florida, especially when you have 127 million people visiting. And the amazing thing about the people visiting is that they turn into people staying eventually. And the other number that I sometimes reflect on and can't believe is the fact that we almost have 1,000 people a day who are coming here to stay, to live. Our population is growing at that rate. So while we need to be very vigilant and great stewards of our natural resources and how we protect our state and help it develop, we also need to plan ahead. We have far too long in this state planned in a remedial fashion or in a short-term plan. And I've challenged the Senate to really plan ahead in terms of our infrastructure, whether it's roadways, whether it's water sewer connectivity, broadband access, fixed broadband access. And we've made tremendous progress. We've had the MCORs go through and multi-use corridors that we established in the state of Florida. The governor signed into law, and we're working to build upon that this session. The other important point I think the governor made was the fact that we do have to sometimes clean up mismessaging, misunderstanding, or misperceptions as it relates to our wonderful state. You know, I tell this story when I was with Visit Florida up in the Panhandle a few weeks ago, that I had a friend whose mother was coming from Europe and had not been here, and he said that she was working herself up, and she's like, I can do this, I can do this. Like, what are you talking about? You're going to Florida. She goes, well, don't they have pythons, alligators, sharks, hurricanes, Zika? And when you think about it, you know, it's true. The governor made a great point. You view one state as a whole, or some problems that you think they're far greater than they truly are. And if it's not messaged correctly, take Zika, for example. That costs tens of millions of dollars to our tourist industry in South Florida. It literally vacated hotel rooms. And so the better that we can continue to message, to manage how we are perceived, and to have that continued reach out, the more successful we're going to be as a state. And that's a real role for Visit Florida, and that's why it does what it does, and that's why it partners with the folks in this room, and it helps you create the economic opportunity for the rest of Floridians, and that's important. So we'll continue to work with you all. I think at the heart of it is predictability. You know, you have to have predictability in order to appropriately plan. And I just referenced that in terms of infrastructure, but it's also in terms of what we do in government. You know, it doesn't mean reform is never necessary. It is. But if you have something that's working, something that's necessary, and something especially unique to your state, you should make sure that it's stable, it's predictable, and it has the resources to go forward. So I look forward to partnering with you this legislative session. It goes by fast, but will be very productive. And finally, I will just comment on our governor. He's doing a phenomenal job, and I've been in this process a long time, and the relationship that we have, and frankly the whole working relationship in Tallahassee has probably been the best that I've seen in my career, and that's going to yield benefits not just for all of you in this room, but for the entire state. And so you have my continued commitment to conduct our business with dignity, with decorum, civility, and with a problem-solving approach. Thank you all very much.